Smackdown starts off with Tiffany Stratton. She comes out, she's crashing out due to what Jade Cargill did last week, due to Jade Cargill attacking her last week. She calls out Jade Cargill. Nick Aldis is trying to prevent a brawl from happening. Jade comes out, security ends up coming out. Jade ended up cutting a very short promo. She basically ends up saying that it's her time and that she finally realized that she wants the WWE Championship, which I find weird because you had multiple opportunities. I don't know why now you're figuring that out. But she ends up saying that she finally realized that she wants to come for that title and that Tiffany Stratton's time as champion is over. Nothing really happened here, but they end up getting security to stop them from brawling, which is the first time in my life that I ever seen this happen. The security finally did their job for once. But this is just the build towards the match. They're playing an injury angle on Tiffany Stratton as well, her constantly holding her knee, which is what I expected because WWE, for whatever reason, I don't know why, they have this weird fetish for protecting their baby faces, where their baby faces cannot lose cleanly. There's always something. There's always some type of interference, or it's always some type of injury angle for the most part to have them lose to a heel. Don't know why this is a thing, but it is what it is. So I knew that it was going to have some type of protection for her if she lose. Now it's not confirmed that she's going to lose, but with this injury angle, that does increases the odds of Tiffany Stratton losing. So they could use that as an injury. They could use the injury angle. Tiffany could use that as an excuse. So later down the line, when they have a rematch, who knows? Maybe Tiffany dethrones her. I don't know. The overall segment, I did enjoy it, but I just don't like that they're using an injury angle to protect Tiffany Stratton. Like I said, you could have just had Jade Cargill just do heel things in the match to make it to where she still loses cleanly, but at the same time, not really. That's just me personally, but I know it's understandable why they went with this route. But overall, I enjoyed the segment. I didn't think the segment needed to be too long, and it wasn't that short either, so I like what they did here. Afterwards, we end up getting a U.S. Open Challenge. We end up getting Nathan Frazier. He comes out, but then you end up getting Tommaso Ciampa. He comes out as well, tries to take Nathan Frazier's spot. They go back and forth. Ilya ends up intervening, ends up saying that Nathan Frazier was first, so Nathan Frazier ends up getting the match. They put on a great match. It's Nathan Frazier and Ilya Dragunov. It was going to be a banger match. Really great match. Ilya Dragunov ends up retaining, of course. After the match, though, you end up getting Tommaso Ciampa. He ends up attacking Nathan Frazier. This leads to a brawl. Axiom comes out. Johnny Gargano comes out. Ilya even gets involved. They end up brawling until it leads to a backstage segment where they all separate. I like it. I like what they're doing here. They're integrating tag teams, give them some feuds, give them some story outside of just the Wyatt Six, have the tag team division still interact while the Wyatt Six are, now that I think about what are the Wyatt Six doing? Because the Street Profits haven't been on TV. It's not even confirmed that the Street Profits are broken up, so I don't know what they're doing with them. And the Wyatt Six are not feuding with nobody. So I like it. They're integrating other tag teams while the Wyatt Six, who are the champions, not doing anything, which doesn't make sense. But I like what they're doing here. I like that they're keeping the other tag teams involved, keeping them constantly, just lurking on TV, giving them some screen time instead of just showing, because when they was feuding with the Wyatt Six and the Street Profits, they was only showing just them two. So I like that they're showing the other tag teams. And plus, this was a banger match. Give Ilya Dragunov some more TV time. Give him more of a connection with the crowd. And him continuing upon these banger matches is going to lead to him getting more and more over with the crowd. So this was great. We end up getting a singles match between Carmelo Hayes versus Kit Wilson. They've been doing this weird story with Kit Wilson, with him being like this overly this over the top feminist type character, where he constantly attacked men who are about toxic masculinity and all this stuff. Melo wins in the match. Miz tries to interfere and tries to help Kit Wilson, but he ends up failing, and Melo ends up picking up the victory. After the match, though, the Miz ends up hitting the skull crushing finale, and that's the end of the segment. I like what they did here. I did like that Melo didn't lose. Now, typically, you would want the heel to cost the babyface the match, but to be fair, it's Kit Wilson. That's the only reason why I didn't mind it, because it's Kit Wilson. Melo should not be losing to Kit Wilson, of all people. Now, it looks like Pretty Deadly isn't going to be a thing, mainly due to Elton Prince injury. So that's very unfortunate. They was actually a tag team that I was actually starting to like. It took me a while to start liking them, but I was actually starting to like them a bit. So it's very unfortunate. Wish a speedy recovery for Elton Prince. But this mid storyline can go very far. I just wish they get more interactions, because I don't want them to keep sneak attacking. I hope we could get a little bit more interactions, whether it's through backstage segments, whether it's them cutting more vignette packages, promos, whatever. I hope they could just have more interaction between Miz and Melo. But nonetheless, I like what they're doing so far. This is still one of the main things I am interested on SmackDown. We get a tag team match between the MFTs and Motor City Machine Guns. Backstage segment happened where these two was arguing, basically talking about the past. Motor City is mentioning dethroning MFTs to get their first WWE Tag Team Championships, and they end up saying that this is their 1 year anniversary, so they could easily do it again. And then they both mentioned the WWE Tag Team titles, and they're both next in line to get them. So they end up having this match. Solo interferes, of course. This allowed MFTs to pick up the victory. You get them attacking Motor City Machine Guns after the match. Ray Phoenix and Shinsuke, they come out due to their problems with the MFTs, of course, but they end up failing, and that's the end of the segment there. Now, it does look like we're going to get Sami Zayn in the picture because right now, if I'm not mistaken, they got Solo, Tamatonga, JC Mateo. Yeah, it's those four, if I'm not mistaken. Well, hold on. Talatonga, Tamatonga, then you have JC Mateo, and then you have Tongalo. Oh, it's five of them. Okay, I had to remember. It's five of them. It looks like Sami Zayn may get involved because it was a segment where Sami Zayn wanted to be on the side, to be ringside next to supporting Motor City Machine Guns, but Nick Aldis told him to just step away because it's only going to make issues worse. So it looks like they're going to have Sami Zayn get back into the Solo Sikoa, the MLT problem, which I was going to hate it, but we have took some time from that where I don't hate it as much now. Plus, this gives them something filler to do until the Rumble, so I don't hate it as much as I did before because we got some time away from it. We got about a couple months away from that. It's been a while, so if you want to put them back in there, I don't mind it as much. Plus, it could be somewhat interesting with this, I wouldn't say new version, but this new look that they gave the MFT. So this could be a little bit more entertaining than last time. So we'll see how this plays out. Now we know we're getting one half of the women's tag team champions, Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. This ended up happening due to last week backstage segment. Now Alexa Bliss won, but she won via cheating of Charlotte Flair, which I find kind of weird because Nia Jax is supposed to be the baby face in this situation, but they had the baby faces. I'm supposed to be the heel in this situation, but they had the babyface cheat in this situation and win, which I find very confusing because next week they're going to be a match between Charlotte and Nia, which I also don't understand because what, Charlotte Flair is going to beat Nia Jax too, but the first match was due to cheating. I feel like this could have worked. Look, if you wanted Nia Jax to lose while getting protected, that's fine. I feel like it would have been better if they would have had Nia attack Charlotte Flair like early in the match, and then attack Charlotte Flair early in the match. That gives Charlotte Flair a reason to cheat, if that makes sense, to get her payback. But that didn't happen. It's just Charlotte Flair cheating. So I'm just a bit confused on why Charlotte decided to cheat in the first place. And then how does this make them baby faces? Now, they're baby faces based off the crowd, but off the story alone, that should just make Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss the heels in this situation. Like, it's a bit weird in my opinion. We'll see how the match plays out. I'm not really excited for this because the women's tag champs doing single stuff, which isn't a bad thing, but they need tag team opponents to face. But to be fair, they have been doing a decent job giving them tag team matches. I'm not the biggest fan of the women's tag team titles because we all know where this is going. This is just filler for them until eventually they turn on each other. But nonetheless, they've been having a decent reign so far. So we'll see how this plays out. Now we get the main event segment. The contract signing for the WWE Undisputed Championship, Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. Starts off with Drew McIntyre not wanting to sign the contract because he wants things to be fair. He doesn't want the championship advantage that Cody Rhodes has to be in the contract. He wants it to be where if Cody Rhodes gets himself disqualified by a countout, then Drew McIntyre will be the new champion. But he also says that he wants Cody Rhodes to be able to get disqualified if he uses the belt or any weapons. He was about to leave. Nick Aldis ends up saying that he's tired of Drew's shenanigans, and he ends up saying that he could just get someone else to face Cody Rhodes at Saturday night's main event. Cody ends up stopping Drew from leaving the ring, ends up saying that he will agree to the terms because he just want to put an end to all of this. So they end up agreeing, and they end up all signing a contract. Then you get Drew McIntyre ends up mentioning they're both similarities in them leaving the company, coming back. He ends up saying that he set the blueprint for Cody Rhodes to follow and to do what he ended up doing. Then he ends up mentioning that he wished that him and Cody could be friends, but Cody is too corporate and does everything for the fans. Then Cody Rhodes ends up responding back. Cody ends up saying that yes, he did set the blueprint, but there's a difference between himself and Drew. He ends up saying that he got fired while he ended up quitting, alluding to that the difference between him and Drew is that he actually had the guts to quit while you just got fired. That's why you ended up doing your own thing. You was forced to do the own thing. He decided to do it on his own. Drew McIntyre ends up stopping Cody because he wants the last word. He ends up mentioning the fans, ends up mentioning Cody being so corporate, doing everything for the fans, and that he ends up saying that eventually one day these fans are going to turn on you. And then he ends up mentioning his family, and he ends up saying that while you're out here, while you out, wearing the orange suit, doing everything for fans, you're not doing everything for your family. He ends up mentioning his kids, and I'm saying that you could be trick-or-treating with your daughter right now. And he ends up asking what is his daughter's name. Cody crashes out, attacks Drew McIntyre. Then he tries to use the championship belt, but he ends up avoiding Drew McIntyre. Then they're starting to play the tease of Drew's getting in Cody's head. Nick Aldis was telling him, like, if you do that at Saturday Night's main event, you're going to be disqualified. What are you doing? Then Drew McIntyre ends up hitting a Claymore into a powerbomb onto the table. This was a great segment. This was easily the best thing they have produced with this feud. This is the most interested I've been in this feud. I still don't buy it. I'm still not buying it. I want to buy into Drew McIntyre so badly, but I just have the feeling that they're going to go with the most obvious and boring outcome, which is Cody retaining. I just don't want that. I don't want it. I want something new, refreshing on SmackDown, but we'll see how this plays out. But this was a great segment. This was great. Really good episode of SmackDown. This was a really good episode of SmackDown. Very shocking this was a good episode of SmackDown, because typically on go-home shows, they typically don't try. They actually try with this show. You guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.